everybody, this is Joey from the Square Hole, and today we are going to go over Jotaro vs. Diavolo. This fight is interesting in a sense that not only is it a pretty hotly debated topic from what I've seen, but it's also been asked by someone I know that if Jotaro was told of Diavolo by Polnareff after he lost, would Jotaro have beaten him? It's pretty similar to my debate over Dio vs. Diavolo in my first video, where I gave Dio the win, with or without intel, through regen, giving him multiple tries. Now this is Jotaro, obviously without regeneration, but he has Star Platinum the world. So with that being said, let's begin with this video's topic. So starting off with Jotaro's abilities, Star Platinum's physical stats and senses are absolutely through the roof, with A in every stat but range, which is a C. This leaves Star Platinum at 2 to 3 meters in effective range. He also has Starfinger, which is a surprise range attack that he could use here. And of course, we can't go over this without mentioning Star Platinum the world, where he can stop time for up to 5 seconds in his prime, and he can interact with the world around him. So for the sake of this video, this is going to be over a hypothetical Part 5 Jotaro, which I think should not be a problem here since he is actively looking for stand users, so I'd imagine he'd stay sharp with his abilities. Now Jotaro himself is a very smart combatant, being a rather skilled tactician and a very creative fighter. He is great at bluffing, and it is relevant next to someone like young Joseph. He beats the elder Darby through pure bluffing alone, and tricks Dio into getting close and stop time until he gets a clean hit during it. So, he's a very tough fighter. Now, how does Diavolo stack up? Looking at Diavolo's abilities, King Crimson is similar to Star Platinum. However, his range is also around 2 to 3 meters, just like Star Platinum, so it's only really the growth potential that matters here. And Diavolo himself has 2 stands, and Epitaph and King Crimson thanks to Doppio. Epitaph lets him see up to 10 seconds into the future. There are no inaccuracies in this vision, but it can be misinterpreted. Now, King Crimson itself allows Diavolo to skip up to 10 seconds into the future, and becomes intangible in that chosen period. He can move around and do what he pleases in that period, except for interact with his opponents, unless you count blood apparently. The limits there are not really made clear, so it's a bit of a foggy area. This also erases the memory of the people caught in it, so they don't remember what happened within the skip period of time. Diavolo, despite his abilities, is not half the fighter Jotaro is, only really having sneak tactics as viable options in how he fights. It works for the stand that he has, but it's still a problem that he'll still have to overcome in this fight. His lack of battle sense is only accentuated the longer a fight goes on, as he becomes more and more predictable in his straightforward approach to fighting. Bucciarati finds a way around it very quickly, so I have no reason to believe that Jotaro can't find his way out of it. Now, how do they stack up? Let's go over that next. So, what are the conditions of this fight? Diavolo finds and defeats Polnareff like before. Polnareff survives, and instead of talking to Bucciarati's group, he contacts Jotaro and warns him of Diavolo. Jotaro takes this opportunity to find and challenge Diavolo. I'm going to break this into 3 sub-rounds. One if they're both going in blind of their abilities, if Jotaro goes in with the intel of Diavolo's abilities, and if they both go in with total knowledge of each other's abilities. So the first round is going to be if they encountered each other while ignorant of each other. Let's say Polnareff dies during the call from blood loss or something after warning him of Diavolo before he could tell Jotaro what his ability was. Or if he just died and Jotaro decided to just pursue Diavolo one way or another. Well, you know, the point is just find him and just be ignorant of his abilities. So in this fight, Jotaro will likely take a similar approach to Polnareff, as his usual strategies that are usable in this fight are not that effective against someone like King Crimson. One surprise attack on Jotaro like he did versus Polnareff should be enough to put him out of commission. Like, we know that Star Platinum has insanely quick senses, but I'm not sure if a surprise blitz would be caught by a stand of essentially equal physical stats. Now it begs the question, how would Time Stop and Time Skip interact if they were both activated at the same time? If they were activated at the same time, yes, time would be stopped and Diavolo cannot change it or do anything about it. The thing is, Diavolo would still be intangible because of King Crimson, so Diavolo cannot be damaged in that period of stop time. So Jotaro would likely be stumped the first time he saw it happen. The way I see it, what Epitaph would see is Jotaro vanishing from one spot to another, as he would stop time, and when it resumed, he would be in a completely different spot. There would be no reason to not skip time in that period and escape that fate. Diavolo then could just stand behind Jotaro after that skip period of time and donut punch him in the middle of Jotaro's follow-up that he'd see in the future, winning him the fight. So, in this situation, Jotaro has no real way of winning this, unless he, first of all, stop time before Diavolo has the chance to use Epitaph to see the future, or immediately use King Crimson. Or second, stop time and put up 0 offense, being completely on guard afterwards, which I doubt he would do in a situation like this. He would just not know what to do after seeing what King Crimson could do, and that one time is what Diavolo needs to win this round. So Diavolo takes this round, I'd say mid-difficulty. So moving on to round 2. If Polnareff explains his understanding of King Crimson's ability to Jotaro, how would that go? So compared to before, Jotaro should be able to tell what to do about King Crimson's abilities. Polnareff, who I'd imagine is less of a tactician than Jotaro by a decent margin, he came up with a way to deal with King Crimson by using drops of blood to see when time skip is used. I see no reason as to why Jotaro would not come up with a similar thing and see when King Crimson's ability is used. Crippled Polnareff, by Diavolo's own words, almost gravely injured him, and this is with a nerfed Silver Chariot. So even if it were an exaggeration on Diavolo's part, Silver Chariot still damaged Diavolo, and in comparison, Star Platinum hitting him in that exact same situation would heavily damage Diavolo at the absolute least. Jotaro surviving on reaction is a very real possibility, even on reaction with Star Platinum if he can anticipate it. And that's kind of the end of the fight for Diavolo. He has no way of beating Jotaro after that, since he is such a one-dimensional fighter with his stand. The depth of his strategy and arsenal just aren't there, whereas Jotaro's grows throughout a fight. Initially, he struggled with Dio, who is just stronger than Diavolo, but went on to defeat that same Dio after he absorbed Joseph's blood without any amps, except his own anger driving him to evolve his strategy and arsenal in real time. The same thing happening to Diavolo just makes it worse the more the fight goes on, and that's assuming Diavolo survives after failing to kill him the first time. This is all without mentioning Time Stop, which is just a lose button if Diavolo is caught in it without King Crimson's ability active. But with Jotaro's anticipation, it would be more likely that Diavolo tries his usual strategy, Jotaro reacts like Polnareff did, time stops, and kills Diavolo right then and there. So Jotaro wins rather low difficulty, with knowledge about King Crimson's ability. And now on to the final round. It's if both combatants know their abilities. So this changes practically nothing from the last round. Diavolo, after his first try, would realize he's royally screwed if time stop is used without the use of King Crimson. He can see this through his visions when that could happen, but Jotaro being off guard with this knowledge just wouldn't happen, especially with Star Platinum ready. His stand's range isn't enough to safely try to attack after he uses his ability. Jotaro, who would continue improving throughout the fight, would just pick Diavolo's game plan apart. Hypothetically speaking, there is no way Diavolo wins this fight in any reliable way, and he is much more likely to mess up in this than Jotaro is. So this round also goes to Jotaro eventually winning this fight. So in conclusion, Diavolo wins one round, and Jotaro with knowledge beats him in all the rest. So this was a fun topic to go over, and I hope you'll stick around with me for more content. Life's been a handful lately, and I hope to get more going for you all to enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a comment and subscribe, as it tells me I'm doing a good job and it puts a smile on my face. So until the next video, take care of yourselves.